Chapter 2. Fluke. Spots! Hundreds, if not thousands of them, were my first introduction to the world as I opened my eyes for the first time. I was surrounded by them, mostly black spots, although some were brown. Later that first afternoon, I was formally introduced to my brothers and sisters. That was after the vet had given me the once-over, stuck a couple of needles in me, inoculations the vet called them. Apparently they were meant to stop me from catching any infections. My stomach rumbled. I didn't know what it was at the time, though later I discovered they called it hunger. Apparently I was always hungry. So after I was reintroduced to my mum, lovely lady that she was, she cleaned me thoroughly, and after my first bath she fed me, and the stomach stopped rumbling. The first few weeks were a bit of a blur. We played a lot, ate a lot, and even though I was last to be born, I was by far the biggest, and my smaller but elder brothers and sisters all seemed to look up to me. Apparently I was the ringleader. Some have said since that I was also a troublemaker, but I preferred mischievous or inquisitive. Different people arrived to check on our progress, and some jabbed more needles in us. How many inoculations could there be, I wondered. We chewed anything that was chewable and some things that weren't, and our small teeth grew. I dare say we probably annoyed Mum a heck of a lot, as she was always telling us off. Slowly we all started to grow. Mum's food gave us the required amount of nutrients, and I seemed to grow the fastest. I couldn't help being hungry all the time. After several weeks, people used to say, "Doesn't he look like his dad?" Well, my dad was lovely, but he wasn't the brightest candle in the box. Most of the time he used to lie in the garden, chewing on a training shoe or someone's slipper, and barking at anything that he thought needed barking at. I suppose I must have picked up some of his traits. Over the coming days, more visitors arrived, and I noticed some of my brothers and sisters went off with them, until one day it was my turn. I was introduced to a lovely couple, and my first action was to chew the man's shoelace. I must have got that habit from my dad. And then I stuck my head in the lady's handbag. I was just checking for needles, as I didn't fancy any more inoculations. And, well, she did just leave it lying invitingly on the floor, and I was inquisitive after all. Eventually I was scooped up, stroked and petted. They called me Fluke, so at last I had a name, an identity. I was someone other than just Spotty or troublemaker. And as I looked over my shoulder at my few remaining brothers and sisters, I wondered if I would ever see them again. My last view of my family was Mum, in the garden, and Dad chewing another slipper. Fond memories indeed. If I am honest, I was a little bit scared. This was a change from the norm, and as I sat on the ladies' knees in the back of their car, I wondered what the future held. Did I really want to spend my days chewing slippers, or was there more to learn? Tiredness took over, and with a big yawn, I fell asleep. The lap was comfy, and the driving was smooth.